In this video, I'm going to show you what I think is probably two of the most valuable features in Fishbowl: the Auto MO Wizard and the Auto PO Wizard. I'm Lance with Brando Consulting, inventory software expert since 2006. So first of all, we're going to go to the purchase order screen, and we're going to go to the manufacturer order screen. You'll see I've got the manufacturer order screen open and the purchase order screen open. And you'll notice something both of them have similar. It's this Auto MO and Auto PO that both look very similar. Now when we click on either the Auto PO or the Auto MO, we get this little pop-up that asks us to put in some criteria. Now this feature automatically gives you recommendations of what to purchase. So if you want to run a report like the reorder level report or the Auto PO report, seriously consider using the tool instead of the report. The report will tell you what the tool is going to do, but the tool is actually going to give you recommendations on what to buy. And then if you accept the recommendation, it's going to just automatically create a purchase order for you to adjust and email to the vendor. So if you use the report, then you still have to go to the purchasing tool or the manufacturing tool and manually create the PO or manually create the MO. Okay, that's if you use the reorder report. If you use the Auto PO or the Auto MO, it just automatically fills it in. So let me show you how the automation works, and let me show you how you control it and use it properly. Because I know most people are scared of this, and you don't have to be. It's actually really awesome. So I clicked on the Auto PO and brought us here. And the first thing it does is say, okay, for which location group do you want Fishbowl to run the calculations for? So in a previous video, I had you create and define healthy stock levels. Okay? And I said you need to define those healthy stock levels by the building, the warehouse building. Okay? Each warehouse has its own healthy stock levels. So this first line right here is asking you to choose the building that you are having or maintaining the stock levels. In this example, I decided to keep it simple and just say company-wide. So we're gonna leave that blank, but you should play with it in a practice file. Location group class, this is another one that will filter and just look at parts that are in a specific class. And then if you want to run this by vendor, you can do that too. But I think the most important filter to put in is the date. So on the sales order screen, there's a date in which you tell Fishbowl when those are scheduled to be shipped out. On the work order screen, there's a date in which you tell Fishbowl that you're scheduling to consume that inventory. And on the purchase order screen, there's a date in which you forecast receiving the inventory. So Fishbowl will look at those dates and filter out any dates that are not relevant to what you're trying to do. So say you have a sales order that doesn't need to be fulfilled for like 6 months. And you just want to buy for what you need in the next couple of months. So you can put in a date and say, well, let's purchase just for what I need in this next couple of months. So think about that. Think about your vendor's lead time. Think about what your date should be. You may leave this blank, or this may be a really handy tool to put in this filter. This next one says include when short, always create build to order. Now what this is talking about is, I'm going to go to another screen and show you what this is talking about. Remember, when short, always create build to order. I'm going to go to the bill of materials screen, and we'll see on a bill of material, now I don't have one in this file, but we'll see on a bill of material it says auto create never, short quantity, order quantity, always create build to order. That's what this purchase order is talking about, or this auto PO is talking about when it says when short, always create build to order. When short quantity, always create build to order. Okay, so what it's saying in simple terms is, if you've decided to manufacture this always, then Fishbowl is going to exclude those parts. It's not going to tell you to buy them if you've decided to manufacture them. So that's what this means. You may have some that you either purchase or manufacture, and so you can play with this and decide. This next one, include no reorder points. Now, I was talking to someone yesterday that gave me a perfect example of when you would uncheck this box, and that's for blanket orders. If you have parts that you've decided not to have a reorder point for, that you want excluded from this auto PO process because it doesn't fit in. Blanket orders don't really fit into this process. So if you just say, okay, blanket order parts, I'm going to not assign a reorder point to you, then you can just uncheck this box and say, okay, I only want to focus on parts I've decided to create a reorder point for. So think about that. In order for this auto PO to work properly, and the auto MO has the same application, in order for them to work properly, you need to first predefine your reorder points, your min and max levels, okay? And you probably need to update your min and max levels, your healthy stock level definitions. Probably need to update those once, twice, 3 times a year, right? Because they're changing a lot of the times. So in order for this tool to work, there's a little bit of setup involved. Make sure to watch my other video on how to set those up properly. In this case, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. Show vendor part number. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Click next. Okay, now this is when the magic is happening, and this is the important part for you to understand. What is happening while that wheel turns? All of a sudden we have, wow, 20 recommendations. Actually 18. Yeah, 18 recommendations for purchase orders to 18 different vendors. How did it do that? That's important to understand. Before you purchase Fishbowl, you may have had this glorified, complex spreadsheet with all these calculations that included your lead time, that included your outstanding orders, may have included your forecast sales. And it takes a lot of time and energy to constantly update that spreadsheet with all those numbers. And then you may actually forget or make a mistake, right? That's probably what led you to purchasing an inventory management software. So Fishbowl, in that period of time, it actually looks at your stock levels, your current stock levels. It looks at your current sales orders that are in there wanting to be fulfilled. It looks at your forecasted sales, because those are embedded in your reorder points in another video and another calculation. And it also takes into consideration the purchase orders, or if you're using the auto MO, the manufacturer orders that you've already issued and are waiting to come in. All right. That's a lot of things to consider. And then, of course, the reorder points, it's looking at what you previously defined as your healthy stock levels. Pretty powerful tool. and pretty difficult to do on your own, even with a complex spreadsheet. So I highly recommend you watch some of my other videos that explain what goes on in the background in that step. Now let's look at this next step. First of all, it says here's a list of parts that have no vendor. As I explained, that there's a little bit of setup involved with reorder points and setting in defined stock levels. There's also a bit of setup involved saying, telling Fishbowl what vendor you prefer for a specific part. Now you're not married to it. You can edit this after this step. But if you haven't assigned a vendor to the part, then it's going to be left out of all the fun. And this first step right here, where it says no vendor parts, Fishbowl is not going to help you create purchase orders for those parts because you haven't put them on a vendor. So what you need to do is export the part product vendor pricing spreadsheet. Scroll all the way over to the right hand side of that spreadsheet and go down the list of all the parts that you purchase and assign them to a vendor. Put in the vendor part number, put in the vendor name, put in the cost, and mark the field as true. Mark the default vendor field as true. If you don't mark the default vendor field as true, then it also is going to leave it off. So make sure that default vendor field is marked true. So in this example, in this file, we may have to go back and do that. So let's click next. And it says, okay, these parts are assigned to this vendor. So it's recommending this quantity to purchase from this vendor. Now, if you know how Fishbowl came up with that number, then that will make sense to you. If you understand that you can control how Fishbowl comes up with that number by setting healthy stock levels, predefined healthy stock levels, then this will be beneficial to you, right? But if you haven't done your homework or beforehand, you may just look at that number with a blank stare and the tool becomes worthless, right? It doesn't help you if you don't understand how it's working. The two of you have to work together and play nice together. But look at this. We can edit the quantity right there on the fly. We can edit the cost. We can delete the recommendation off entirely. We can uncheck this box that says, I don't want to issue a PO to that vendor today. So you have complete control. This is just a recommendation that you can accept or reject. And then you click next. Say, oh, for that vendor, I don't want to buy anything from them today. Uncheck, reject. Yes, that's good. I need to purchase from them. And you go through this list. Now, your list may be this long. It may not be this long. But let's go ahead and click next all the way to the end and just accept everything. Obviously, you wouldn't just blindly accept everything, right? You would carefully go through and accept or reject its recommendations. But then on this last step, we let it churn and it starts to put data together to create a PO. And it doesn't create the POs yet. It gives us a summary where we can look at it one last time before we decide to accept its recommendations to create purchase orders. So here we see OP265, 265. Both of those are going to go on the same purchase order for the same vendor. This one's going to go on one PO, and then all of these are going to go on one PO to the same vendor. The most important part that you need to do on this step is to click bid request. Okay? Don't just click next and let it create issued POs. Click bid request so then you can clearly see all the purchase orders that it just created and start clicking on the first bid request, look at the PO, and email it to the vendor. So I click bid request, click finish, and it just created a lot of bid requests. Now I'm going to stretch this column out, and I'm going to right click on this column header and then click status. Now that showed me a list of all the purchase order statuses, so I can quickly and easily see which ones I just barely created. I'll sort by date. Today is September 18th. Scroll down, it's looking at 1 through 77 purchase orders. And we'll see here that here are all the purchase orders it just recommended to me. So I'll start at the top of the list and double click on this purchase order. And then here I can see, okay, this one's missing a cost. I know what the cost of that is, or well, it's actually says sample. So yeah, I'm requesting a sample. Maybe that's the wrong part. I need to change it, right? So the carrier is not will call. It's actually this other carrier. And let's see if this looks good. And let's just take a look really quick. Oh, there's a required custom field I need to put in there. Okay. And then we can look at a print preview, see how that looks. If that looks the way we need it to, then we can issue the purchase order and then click yes to send an email and fill in the email template. And then go to the next one on the list. So now that one says it's issued. So I can go on to the next one on the list and do the same. Look at the purchase order, change the carrier, maybe change the quantity or the cost, make sure it's being shipped to the correct building, maybe update some contact information, call the vendor, talk to them about their price. You know, everything you need to do. Click issue. Whoops, I keep forgetting this required field. You know, you might have a required field, you might not. Click issue, send the email, put in the email information, and then go to the next one. So hopefully, if you didn't get anything else out of this video, you got this one thing, and that is you have complete control. By using this feature properly, understanding how it works, it's powerful and can completely automate your purchasing under your control.